our purpose here for this webcast is to introduce you to our new learning path in operational excellence. We've added some new courses here, and if you look at the descriptions down here for the new courses, we've added basically 4 days of training: OpEx 101, Lean Six Sigma, and BPM, and then OpEx Tools of the Trade, which is a 2-day course. Now, also within showing in our learning path here is process modeling with BPMN, and that's just something that you can take in conjunction with these courses. But what we've developed here, based on the marketplace and with the interest that people have shown and what we're seeing in the literature, are courses that will take you through what operational excellence is all about and show you the relationship between operational excellence, Lean Six Sigma, BPM, and basically all the other process improvement tools that are available to people. It tends to be a little bit more of a hands-on course than some of the others. So our agenda for this webcast is basically give you a quick overview of what operational excellence is all about, or as we call it, OpEx. We're going to show you the relationship between OpEx and BPM, and also Lean Six Sigma. We'll talk a little bit about the benefits, and then we'll go through what the course curriculum is at a kind of a high level to give you a flavor for what these courses are going to be about as you proceed through these courses. Lean Six Sigma and BPM have been around for a while. These are some of the better books on the subject. Once again, in the Six Sigma, the books that are really of interest are the Six Sigma Way and Lean Six Sigma for Service. Lean fundamentally is what's known as the Toyota production system, but it's been heavily adapted in the service industries also. And these are two very good books on that subject, particularly the one called Lean Thinking down there with Womack and Jones. We've got some other books referenced here in terms of BPM, and you can see Andrew Spanny's book up here. He's basically worked with me in helping me create the material that we're using here for these 4 courses, these 4 days of training. So that's a good piece of it. And then what I find, and what I always consider the fundamental book on BPM, is the Rumler and Braish book, Managing the White Space. So you can see these are some of the better references for the subject. You don't see much on operational excellence yet because not too many people have created any books at this point, but it's certainly a subject that's had a lot of discussion and a great deal of material created. Now, what I've done here and the fundamental components of operational excellence is this is basically my perspective of what operational excellence is all about. And I built this model for a very specific reason. These are the basic things that you've got to do, and if you notice, it looks like a spider web back there. They're all interconnected. So when we do the OpEx 101 class, we get into these 7 areas and describe them and show you the relationship between all of these various things that you do. We start off talking about strategy and how an organization needs to build a strategy. We talk about the metrics, how we're going to measure our performance. We link that up with the idea, the concept, one of the concepts of BPM, where we talk about the value stream processes of the organization or the execution of the strategy for the organization. We talk about the cultural aspects, getting people in tune, getting them used to change management, dealing with conflict, areas like that, because the people who do the work are the ones that we need to tap into to help us make the improvements that we need to be a successful organization. We talk about process, well, the processes we talk about in BPM, how to document them, how to measure them, and so on. We talk about tools, basically the tools that are used, and some of those tools are are in the follow-on class using what we're calling the tools of the trade. We talk about some of the project management aspects to be successful. Now, whether you're into BPM or Lean Six Sigma, whatever, basically, to be successful in either one of those, you've got to have some project management skills. The better we define those projects we work on, the more likely we are to be successful at them. And then lastly, methodology. We get into what Lean Six Sigma is all about. We get into what BPM is all about. And we also talk about how when you use them, they're better together. And basically, the second course in the sequence, we spend the entire day talking about the various aspects of those two methodologies and how they overlap and how, when you put them together, there's much more of a synergistic effect to doing those improvement projects that you need to get done to keep yourself as a successful organization. So we talk about what BPM is all about as one of those methodologies. Basically, we need to understand the end-to-end processes of the organization, basically, and we need to understand them, measure them, in order to ensure our performance. And as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, the execution of the strategy of your organization is a direct result of how good your end-to-end processes function. So the better we understand those processes, when we find gaps in our performance, we can use the tools such as Lean Six Sigma, various process improvement tools, to make the necessary improvements in those processes, to make sure we're aligning our resources and using them in the most efficient and effective manner throughout our organization. So BPM is an integral part of operational excellence. If you look at what BPM is all about, this is kind of I like to call it the Reader's Digest view of BPM. We need to understand our processes. So what do we have to do? Number one, we need to be able to model them. We need to get it down on paper. We need to understand what the flow looks like. Once we've got that, we need to measure them. We need to analyze them. Look for where the gaps in our performance are, where our bottlenecks are, what are the things that we can do better, smarter. And then we can design and modify those processes. And that's where you get into using tools like Lean Six Sigma, re-engineering sometimes, and the various process improvement tools that we're going to expose you to, which basically the tool set, most of that tool set also overlaps with the Lean Six Sigma tool set. So we want to use these tools in an effective manner to improve our processes, optimize our performance, and once again execute on the strategy of the organization. And then the last, we need to manage the processes. That is, we need to have those documented processes so that they don't go back to the way they were before. We need to control them. We need to monitor them. We need to give the process owners some tools to make sure that they stay and perform as needed for the organization. So that's where BPM comes into play here. When we integrate that with Lean Six Sigma, we find that we get a much better use of the resources. One of the things that we deal with in business today is ever-increasing complexity, a need for speed. We need to be faster, lighter on our feet. We need to make sure we deliver good quality to our customers on an ongoing basis. And Lean Six Sigma, along with the knowledge of the processes of the organization that BPM provides to us, allows us to maintain these processes, to control these processes, and make the important changes with the data to back it up. We need to operate in that space where we're using data, we're using scientific, organized methodology to make our improvements. So we need to understand the processes, control the processes, and obviously improve them as needed. So Lean Six Sigma and BPM together give us those systematic methods for doing that and allows us to make the improvements necessary And then once we do that, we can use the technology to even increase the speed further, allow these processes to be optimized and used in the best way for our organization to get the most results. So what we've developed here are basically 3 courses. OpEx 101 goes through that model that I showed you earlier in a lot of detail. We get into each one of those 7 areas and explain why they all need to fit together, why you need all 7 of those pieces to be successful in operational excellence. We did this by looking at numerous papers that are available, lots of data, collected a lot of information. We've been to conferences and seen what people are trying to do. And basically, operational excellence, the main things in there are the combination of using tools like Lean Six Sigma and BPM and good project management skills, understanding people and people skills, building strategies, and so on to run their organization. What we've done with the Lean Six Sigma course is to give you a good view of what Lean Six Sigma is all about. We talk about Lean first. We get into what Six Sigma is all about. We talk about BPM. And then as we go through the information on these 3 things, basically I'm going to relate to you how they work and why it is better to have all of the pieces working in conjunction with one another, giving us a full set of tools that allow us to maintain and operate and improve our processes continuously. And then the last course, the OpEx Tools of the Trade course, that's a 2-day course. We do about 20 of the commonly used process improvement tools, and it's a very hands-on course. It's we basically describe the tool, and then we basically will put you to work to actually execute this in small groups within the class. So the OpEx class in particular, the OpEx Tools of the Trade class, is a very hands-on class. And I know that when I teach some of the other courses like BPM 101 and process mapping and process measurement, I always hear that we need more hands-on experience with these things. So what we've done here with the OpEx Tools class is give you the opportunity to have a lot of hands-on exercises over the 2 days of that course and basically introduce you to the commonly used tools of process management. Some of this goes back over exactly what I said before. Basically, we talk about the principles of in OpEx 101, the alignment of the management systems and so on, and then basically we get into what the ingredients of OpEx really are, which are those 7 key areas that we need to cover. And the idea here is that we're trying to focus on organizational performance, how we can control it, manage it, and improve it as necessary to make sure that we are functioning in such a way that we can execute the strategy, the goals and objectives for the organization. Once again, the better we understand our organization in that execution, we can deal with increasing complexity, we can deal with business changes that are constant these days. It gives us a method to really excel as an organization. Lean Six Sigma and BPM, once again, we show you the relationship between Lean Six Sigma and BPM and where that fits in the operational excellence space. We really get into the emphasis of why they're better together. In many organizations today, the two areas are separate, necessarily equal things, and that's something that we need to work on. They need to work together. The better we understand the processes and the tools of BPM, then we can apply Lean Six Sigma methodology better to make the improvements we need. So we need to do that. It helps us understand the infrastructure. In both cases, both with BPM and Lean Six Sigma, there's a great deal of customer focus, and nowadays that's a big issue. We've got to take that outside in point of view and work from the customer's point of view. How do we function based on what the customer needs and requirements are, and always making improvements in our performance to meet the criteria, because that bar gets raised all the time with our customers and our competition. And then we also, the big focus here is how we can do a better job executing our process improvement projects to get the maximum out of them without it interfering with other processes in the organization. If you don't have that overall view of the entire value stream of your organization, you can fix something in a process in one place and create a problem somewhere else. So we need that BPM view. We need to have that understanding of the full value stream of our organization as we embark on these projects. So there's a great deal of synergy by combining Lean Six Sigma and BPM. And then the tools of the trade, as I mentioned earlier, it basically picks up where we leave off with the OpEx course and the Lean Six Sigma course by showing you what some of these tools are, using a great deal of hands-on exercises. The idea here is to use real-world experience. We're going to ask the people to come with problems that they've seen before and use these kinds of tools and start to understand how they're helpful in the execution of an improvement project. So we're going to look at process maps. We'll get into swim lane diagrams and value stream maps. We'll talk about how to build a Pareto chart, cause and effect diagrams, scatter plots, and several others. But basically, this is a very hands-on way to demonstrate how to do these kinds of tools so that when you walk away, you'll feel comfortable in using them as part of whatever you're doing in your current position. So, if you need additional information, we've given you some information here about contacting either Greg or Mark. You can look at the website. The structure of the courses is laid out in there, and there's some information there about basically how to sign up, and hopefully we've piqued your interest and you'll come and join us, and we'll see how this works. Thank you.
All right, Marvin, thank you so much. And I just wanted to mention that these courses were built brand new just earlier this year, and so they contain a lot of fresh examples and latest thinking on operational excellence and BPM and how those things can work together. And we encourage our members to explore the full descriptions that are available on the website. You can access those through the learning path. And we appreciate you, Marvin, giving everyone an update to this section of the 2016 catalog. We have a number of different areas that we've updated and added for this year, but I think the operational excellence learning path is one of the most exciting of those changes. So thanks again for stopping by today.
Thanks, Greg.